Husqvarna made their first product in 1689. Not a chainsaw, not a lawnmower, a musket for the Swedish army. That was 337 years ago. For 3 centuries, this company survived wars, economic collapses, and the complete transformation of every industry it entered. It adapted. It evolved. It built a reputation for engineering quality that very few brands on earth can match. And then a Swedish appliance company bought it, and everything changed. Here is a name you need to know if you own any piece of outdoor power equipment sold at a big box store in the last 20 years. Electrolux, the vacuum cleaner company. In 1977, Electrolux acquired Husqvarna. A vacuum company bought a weapons-turned-chainsaw manufacturer. Think about that for a second. The people making kitchen appliances were now in charge of the brand that professional loggers trusted with their lives. At first, it did not matter much. Husqvarna kept making professional chainsaws and forestry equipment. The quality stayed. The engineering stayed. The brand stayed strong in the pro market. But Electrolux had a different vision. They did not want to sell expensive chainsaws to a small number of professionals. They wanted to sell cheap outdoor equipment to millions of homeowners through Lowe's and Home Depot. Volume, margin, shelf space. So they started buying. In the 1980s, Electrolux acquired Poulan, the Louisiana chainsaw company Claude Poulan founded in 1946. Poulan built a real reputation making affordable one-person chainsaws in an era when it still took 2 guys to fell a tree. Good machines for the money, honest products. Then Electrolux bought Weed Eater, then Roper Corporation, which they renamed American Yard Products, then Jonsered, then Partner, then Flymo. By the time they were done, Electrolux owned Husqvarna, Poulan Pro, Weed Eater, Jonsered, Partner, Flymo, and a manufacturing operation in Orangeburg, South Carolina that could pump out riding mowers, walk-behind mowers, chainsaws, and trimmers for every brand name under the umbrella. Here is the part that most people miss. These were not separate companies anymore. They were labels. Different stickers going on products coming off the same lines in the same factory, with varying levels of cost reduction baked into each tier. A forum member put it perfectly. He said his Poulan Pro sounds just like his dad's Husqvarna saw. He thought it was odd. It was not odd. It was the same saw. A Poulan Pro chainsaw and a Husqvarna chainsaw in certain model ranges share identical components. Same engine architecture, same carburetor, same ignition system. The Husqvarna costs twice as much because of the name on the plastic. But wait, that is just the beginning of the damage. In 2006, Electrolux decided outdoor power equipment did not fit its portfolio anymore. They spun off the entire outdoor division as Husqvarna Group and listed it on the Stockholm Stock Exchange. Husqvarna was independent again. On paper, that sounds like good news. The chainsaw company was free from the vacuum company. Time to refocus on quality, except the damage was already done. Husqvarna Group inherited a bloated brand portfolio, a manufacturing operation tooled for cheap consumer products, and contractual obligations to supply Craftsman-branded equipment to Sears and other big-box retailers. The professional Husqvarna division was healthy. The consumer division was hemorrhaging money. By 2018, the numbers were brutal. Husqvarna's CEO, Kai Warren, announced that the company would exit low price point product segments, particularly gas-powered walk-behind mowers and garden tractors. The Consumer Brands division, which housed Poulan, Weed Eater, and the budget tractor lines, was dissolved entirely. Those brands were folded into the Husqvarna and Gardena divisions. The company exited roughly 2 billion Swedish kroner in low-margin revenue in 2019 and planned another 1 to 2 billion Swedish kroner in 2020. Let me translate that. Husqvarna looked at the budget outdoor power equipment that Electrolux had spent decades building and said, "This is not worth making." The margins were gone. The quality reputation was damaged. The big box retail model had squeezed the product down to a price point where Husqvarna could not build anything worth putting their name on. Price had become the priority. One forum user put it plainly. He retired his 30-year-old McCulloch chainsaw because he could not get parts anymore. McCulloch was another brand Husqvarna owned and killed. These brands were not failing because nobody wanted them. They were failing because the parent company had strip-mined the engineering out of them to hit price targets for retailers who did not care about quality. They cared about shelf space. This pattern is not unique to Husqvarna. Look at what happened to every brand Electrolux touched. McCulloch was a legendary American chainsaw manufacturer. They made the saws that cleared the forests that built the suburbs in the 1950s. Electrolux bought them, moved production overseas, cheapened the components, and eventually killed the brand entirely. 30 years of reliable service ended not by mechanical failure, but by corporate abandonment. Jonsered was a respected Swedish professional chainsaw brand. Loggers in Scandinavia swore by them. Under Electrolux and then Husqvarna Group, Jonsered became a shadow brand. The same Husqvarna engines, different plastics, and a much smaller dealer network. The brand still technically exists, but the identity is gone. And then there is what happened to the carburetors. This is the detail that tells you everything. Older Poulan chainsaws had adjustable carburetors, a high-speed jet and a low-speed jet. The owner or a mechanic could tune the saw for altitude, temperature, and fuel quality. The newer consumer models came with carburetors where the mixture screws were either eliminated entirely or sealed with limiters to meet EPA emission standards. Forum members report that these saws come tuned lean from the factory. Running lean means less fuel in the combustion mix. Less fuel means less lubrication on the cylinder walls. Less lubrication means faster wear. The saw runs cleaner for the EPA and dies faster for you. The professional Husqvarna models still have adjustable carburetors because a professional logger cannot afford a saw that runs lean at high altitude. His life depends on proper tuning. The consumer models do not have this adjustment because the consumer is not expected to keep the saw long enough for it to matter. Now, here is what this means for you, right and now, today. If you own a Husqvarna chainsaw in the professional range, the 372 XP, the 390 XP, the 562 XP, you own a legitimately excellent piece of equipment. The professional division was never compromised. Husqvarna still makes some of the best chainsaws and forestry equipment on the planet. The Swedish engineering is real. The quality is real. The 372 XP has been called the greatest production chainsaw ever made by professional loggers on multiple continents. It runs thousands of hours with basic maintenance. Parts are available globally. Independent shops can rebuild one in an afternoon. But if you own a Husqvarna riding mower from a big box store, or a Poulan anything, or a weed eater trimmer, you own a product from the consumer division that the company itself decided was not worth making anymore. The parts support on those consumer lines is thinning. Manufacturing has shifted. Carburetors cannot be tuned. Engines run lean. And the brand name on the hood has nothing to do with the people who built the 372 XP. This is what happens when a financial entity buys an engineering company. Electrolux did not destroy Husqvarna's professional products because they could not. The loggers and arborists who use that equipment would have walked away overnight. You cannot fake quality when a man's life depends on the product not failing 40 feet up a tree. But they absolutely destroyed the consumer side. They turned Poulan from an honest chainsaw company into a budget label. They turned Weed Eater from a brand name into a generic noun. They turned Husqvarna riding mowers into MTD clones with orange paint. And when the money stopped flowing, they dissolved the entire division and walked away. The brands that survived are the ones that were too important to the professional market to ruin. The brands that died are the ones that had no constituency powerful enough to protect them. Poulan owners do not organize. Weed eater owners do not lobby. They just buy the next cheapest option at Home Depot, and the cycle repeats. If you are shopping for outdoor power equipment and you see the Husqvarna name, ask one question. Is this from the professional division or the consumer division? Because they are two completely different companies sharing a name. One is a 337-year-old engineering firm. The other is whatever is left after a vacuum company spent 30 years chasing Walmart margins. If you learned something from this, hit subscribe. This channel exposes the engineering scams and corporate decisions that are destroying the equipment you depend on. We publish new episodes every single week. If you want to make sure you never miss one, turn on notifications. The next episode will make you look at your garage very differently.